My friend demanded I ask for her permission before getting a job.
Is she your boss? Because that's the only way that makes sense.
By the way, this comes directly from the OK Storytime subreddit. I, 34 female, have a best friend, Kit, 35 female. She was the maid of honor at my wedding last year, so she's in every photo. My best friend of 8 years and our husbands are that couple that always hangs out together. She had been with her husband for 7 years and mine for 4. We lived 300 meters away from each other by the beach for 1.5 years, so we would hang out every single weekend. We would get wasted on Friday night, then be too hungover the rest of the weekend, but we had some fun time. By the way, this comes from One Piano 6834. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. My husband and I bought a house about 25 minutes away in the suburbs. I am a full-time student on my last term of uni, finally. My husband's family is pretty well off, and he has a trust fund that he used to buy the house, and his family also helped, so there's no mortgage. Which, being in the second most unaffordable city in the world, you know that's a huge weight off our shoulders. My husband was a surgeon back in Europe, but came here to do a PhD and changed his direction in health. And 6 months before the wedding, my dad cheated on my mom and left her for the other woman. He left my mother with my autistic sister, who was going through the worst domestic abuse situation. She was forced to have 2 children with this guy, and they are nonverbal autistic, so it is very hard for her. My father also cut my mother off financially. I told my husband I want to postpone the wedding, but he wouldn't allow it as we had his family coming from overseas. The entire year I was depressed, and my father ended up coming to the wedding and leaving halfway through. My husband had a great time with his family, but to me it was probably one of the most depressing days of my life. My friend knew I didn't want to do it. Some more family drama followed, which just added to the anxiety. After the wedding, she went quiet in the group chat, then called me to tell me that everyone in our friend group is angry with me because of how I have been the last few months. I contacted every person individually and said, sorry, I've been so stressed out and please forgive me. Every single person said it's totally fine and why would they be mad at me? Weddings are stressful and everyone had a great time, and essentially proved she was lying. She told me I wasn't myself and I need to go seek help and get antidepressants. So I did. After 3 months, I stopped taking them as I felt like the shock of my wedding was over. After many sessions in counseling, my husband apologized for making me go through with the wedding and was just so excited. Fast forward 8 months. I'm still a poor student. I dropped a few subjects at uni and did some short courses in my field of study, work health safety. I spent all of my savings on these courses, and then everything else I spent on my husband's birthday party, all in the same month. So I maxed out my credit card and burned through my savings. Another friend, we will call Kayla, 35 female, managed a liquor store. We met her 8 months prior when we got our booze in her store. My husband and I invested 10% into Kit and her husband's booze company. I put 15% of the 10%, as that's all I could afford. He put the remainder. When we had our startup, I was running around doing everything Kit asked of me so we could get it off the ground, often driving 4 to 5 hours a day to pick up and deliver things. Do booze tastings for them, all unpaid because I'm an investor and they're my friends and I want them to succeed. For 2.5 years, they would always introduce me as, this is my name, her husband is an investor. And I would always say, well, we both are. I told Kit that it hurt my feelings when her husband did this, and why was I not in the booze group chat? She said, it's just for the signatories. Whatever, I gave that up. I changed my mindset and thought maybe I'll help because it's my best friend. So we met Kayla at the liquor store. I do a tasting as Kit keeps leaving to do things. For the last 2 years, I've been waiting for my work experience subject at uni. Because my friend and her husband work in construction, they promised they could get me some work experience when the time came. She works in administration. Her husband is a project manager. Since I've known Kit, I've been the fun drinking friend on the weekends. I made good money throughout my 20s, so it took a lot of adjusting to become a broke student. Yes, I had savings, but that ran out by the time we had the wedding. When I first met her, she just left her fiance as his mistress, just gave birth to their child, and he left her with $90,000 in debt. I'm wildly lost in this
Where
story.
are these people coming from? That's a crazy thing to have had happened to you. So that's
Yeah.
Kit's backstory. Husband left Kit
Yeah.
with a child and $90,000 of debt. Whoa.
Wow.
Maybe let's stop drinking on the weekends and figure some stuff out. We got to put a plan together. We got to do stuff.
I paid for everything when we went out because I was in a position to do so. But one day, I grew up. I knuckled down with my studies. I found a great man, albeit the wedding situation was bad. It's been 6 or 7 years of studying, thanks to the world shutting down for 2 years. So now that you've got the foundations, let's get to the story. It's been 6 months since we met Kayla. Kit and Kayla have been hanging out every Friday night. We have all been to each other's birthdays. We all like each other. After a massive day on a difficult course, I went home and took a sleeping tablet at 7 p.m. and woke up at 9 a.m. the next day. I was in bed replying to messages, then I started getting ready for the day, taking my dog to the vet, then going to my other friend's house to help her start packing to move the following weekend. Kayla had messaged the night before with a discount code to some designer brand. I replied with, I wish I could, but I'm so broke after June. My short courses, husband's birthday, around $6,000. She replies with, if you're desperate, I can give you 2 shifts at my store. Great, I thought. 2 days and I will fill in when someone calls in sick. That way, it's not too much of a commitment as I have a busy month coming up. I messaged Kit back in the group chat to apologize for my late response as I had a sleeping tablet that previous night. She replied with, or you were out drinking with Kayla, haha. I reply with, that's so funny you mention her, as she just offered me to do 2 shifts at her store this weekend and fill in person in the future. At this point, it has been 30 minutes since Kayla offered me a job and me telling Kit. I'm packing the car as I'm replying to everyone. I leave Kayla messages to ask if I want to work that night as well as the 2 other. I say sure. I get to the shop that evening and start working. Kayla tells me she is going out with Kit that night. Kit comes in a hurry as the Uber is outside, drops me my sunglasses from the hangout the previous weekend, doesn't say hi, just in a rush. I send 2 photos in the group chat over the weekend. Radio silence. Come Monday morning, I'm back on an intense short course, 10 hours per day, plus 4 to 5 hours homework each night for 2 weeks. I messaged to ask her and her husband if they still have a connection for me for work experience in safety. Otherwise, I can organize something else. She replies with, you've been changing your mind a lot lately with what you want to do with work experience, so maybe you should have a long, hard think about what it is you actually want to do before chats can be had. I thought this was quite rude. After the wedding, we agreed if the other person does something, we would say it straight away so there's no build-up. So I messaged her asking why she said that when my degree I've been studying for 6 years is in safety, and she agreed 2 years ago to help me. I've asked them every 6 months since then if they can still help, and it's not a big deal if they can't. I have other options. And also that it was rude to put it in a group chat. She said, I'll call you later tonight. So she calls. I answer pleasantly, as usual, thinking she's going to say, sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I've just had a rough week. Instead, she goes off her head at me, saying I should have asked her permission to work at the liquor store. I shouldn't be telling people I am broke as I am an investor and it looks bad for the business. And she had to hear it from someone else that I took the job.
In what universe is any of this your territory, my guy?
So
Why are you making this into a problem? She's picking up extra shifts, working behind a counter. Stop it.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
She's working 2 days a week and filling in for people. I
And
don't
why
think
is this
that means...
anyone's problem?
Yeah. Also saying that Kayla was confused why we lived in such an expensive house, but I was saying I was poor. She took my address from my employee application and looked the house price up. How is that anything to do with me? Plus, once again, I have a prenup because his family bought the house. She also said Kayla is not our friend. She is a work colleague and they only go out with her every Friday to try to get her to get our booze into other stores. I said that's not nice to her considering that we've all been to each other's birthdays and I had considered Kayla my friend. She said I wouldn't understand because I don't work in that business. I was so confused, but also, why are you yelling? Why didn't you say something Friday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday morning? I could have avoided even starting work if it meant that much to her. Plus, this is the first time I've been included as an investor. Why now? After the last year we've been saying I just work for her, we end the phone call. I'm so angry. I tell my husband, and all he hears is that I've been telling people I'm poor and he is not a good provider, when all I said was I can't afford designer clothes because I am a student and just had an expensive month. Is this the wrong thing to say? I didn't get much care from him as he was hung up on that sentence. He called her husband the next day to ask what was going on. He said, Kit said apparently she told her not to work there and she took the job anyway, which is a lie. Then the manager from the other liquor store passes away. That's her husband's friend and how we got into Kayla's liquor store. So I sent her a nice message saying sorry for the loss of her friend. Then come Friday, she loses her job. She messaged Sunday saying, let's clear the air. I figure, let's not make my birthday awkward, and we meet up a few days later, the day before my birthday. I figure she's had a rough week and it's not worth losing the friendship over. I'll apologize for all of these things. She'll apologize for overreacting. I say sorry for XYZ. She also says she doesn't actually care that I work there, just that Kayla told her first. I said, but I told you half hour after. She said, yes, but Kayla told me first. You should have dropped everything you were doing and told me. I ask her for an apology for what she said, and she replies with, well, first you want to be a bus driver, then you want to do a truck license, then you want to work at this place. So you see where I'm coming from? I replied, not really. What I do for a job and what I do for study and a career are two different things. I could be an Uber driver or work at a coffee shop, and that has nothing to do with my degree in work safety. She replies, I guess this is a conversation for another day. I also mentioned the booze group chat. Again, she says it's just for those who signed the contract. So I decided I'm not doing anything more for that business regardless of how this pans out. My husband takes me out for my birthday over the weekend and surprised me with her and her husband. It was the worst birthday ever. He thought we had a little disagreement and now we're over it. For the entire month, my husband, her husband, and Kit had a group chat organizing meetups as I was too busy with study. I told him, please don't do this. It hurts my feelings. He said, I will get over it and I just need another chat with her to clear the air. She messaged me 1 to 2 weeks later to catch up as friends, not for any hard conversations. And I told her it seems like she has forgotten where we left things. She is not willing to apologize. Her husband obviously has been told a different story. We had a few back and forth texts, but she doesn't think she did anything wrong. I told my husband I'm not going on his family vacation anymore as I don't feel heard or supported. He said I'm being dramatic, but I stood my ground. He spoke to the counselor and they told him what was happening and agreed he had been a wiener the last month by not realizing the argument was bigger than it actually was. I quit the liquor store job for Kit. Kayla wanted to keep me on permanently. My husband doesn't speak to them anymore, but keeps it cordial with them because of the business. By the way, you can keep it cordial with us by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. I blocked her. I can't let that friendship take any more energy from me. I'm graduating in a few short months. I have my dream job back in my husband's country as we are moving there soon for his work. I don't know what to do from here. Did I make the right choice? I feel better that I blocked her, but also have other friends asking if I was going to her birthday, which was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back as she organized her birthday when we were in a good place. Some say it's obvious that she is jealous as she was always the one I turned to for advice and she was always ahead of me in life. But now my life is about to take off. house, husband, career, money. It seems like she doesn't think I deserve it because she met me when I was the funny wasted friend. But I turned my life around. I've always been the chill friend who lets things slide, but this time I didn't. Maybe that has shocked her. And that's the end of that story.
I exposed my friend's awful actions to a matchmaker, and now he's blacklisted by everyone. I, 39 female, am friends with this guy we'll call Jake, 42 male. We worked at the same place for a long time. I branched out, and he still works there. No, we were never romantic, but due to common interests, we became friends. I don't find him visually appealing, and he doesn't find me attractive either. It all works out. By the way, this comes from user CrabAppleGirl86, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give you good advice, Goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. Recently, Jake came into a financial windfall. It wasn't enough to live off, but it was enough to let him buy a place of his own, since he lived with his folks before this. A nice weekend fun car, as he calls it, and enough money saved to where if he ever does get laid off from his job, he won't be in financial dire straits until he finds a new one. One of the things he splurged on was the services of a matchmaker, because despite his newfound financial situation, he still could not find someone. In one weird twist, the service he contracted is run by a woman that I am personally friends with. When Jake asked me, "Why didn't you hook me up before with them?" all I could say was, "Sorry, honey, you couldn't afford them before." I didn't say it to be mean, it was the truth. One thing about Jake is that he will sometimes make online videos opining about random subjects, which get hardly any views. He thinks it's because in order to go viral, spouting off on a topic, you have to be an attractive woman who is bi or sapphic, a man with a British accent, or a raging right-winger, or you need to post something completely outlandish that will get people talking. He recently posted something that could get people talking, and it got almost no views again, which is a good thing, and I'll explain why. He spent several minutes talking about how he creates AI video clips showing two women making out, but whined that he cannot post them publicly because there is a chance one of the women depicted in the AI could sue him. He literally said, quote, "These are sadly for my eyes only because the last thing I need is to be dragged into court because a woman got big mad that I created a few 5-second clips of her Frenching her bestie or whomever,"
Why are
which
we
is
friends
a
with
shame,
this guy?
as I know they would get a ton of views. When I saw this, I called him to ask if he was trolling. He said no. I asked if I could see them because I was curious as to what AI could do. So I came to his new house and he showed me some. These clips are very realistic and could easily fool people if they didn't know it was AI. Now, he apparently came to his senses and deleted the video talking about it, but not before he shared a screenshot of a DM conversation he had where someone begged him to take the video down while it still had no real views. Because if a girl he liked saw it, she would get the ick so bad. He actually told the person, "What about the men who are harmful and or controlling? Is that not an ick?" The person told him, "Yes, but they aren't stealing real women's social media pics to create AI without their consent either." I had a feeling he was going to delete the post showing the DM once he deleted the video, so I saved it before he did. I decided to send it to my friend who runs the matchmaking service and said, "I know this dude is my friend, but please be aware he admitted to downloading pictures from random women's social media accounts to create AI kissing content without their consent. I'm talking about tongues in the mouth type French kissing." She thanked me for letting her know. One day later, I noticed Jake posted on his socials, "Was set to go see a matchmaker today, but an hour before the meet, they canceled on me and refunded my money. When I asked why, they said it was an internal matter. Guess they don't like money." He asked me if I had any inside info. I told him, sometimes my friend just declines to work with people at the last minute. It happens.
Honestly, I don't think you should have done that. I think you
No.
should tell him the truth.
Yeah, I think you're protecting that man at that
Yeah.
point, and you need to tell him how it is, and that that girl that DM'd him was right, and that he's being a disgusting, icky human.
I didn't want to tell him why, as I know he might accuse me of meddling or sabotaging over a private interest.
Who cares?
Am I the a-hole for doing this? Some people are saying I did my matchmaker friend a favor. Others are saying I should have just let things play out. Some said I meddled, One said, I should have let the matchmaker know after she set him up with someone so she could let his date know, because once a date happens, she doesn't get refunds. Apparently, my matchmaker friend forwarded the screenshot I sent her to the other matchmakers in the area, because this man posted on his socials that he tried some other matchmakers. But as soon as they see his name and picture, they say no to working with him, but won't say why. Oops. Comment number 1. We've got comments. Not the a-hole. Guarantee those few in the comments defending him would change their tune if it was AI of them tonguing other dudes. Comment 2, downvoted 15 times. Sounds like you're the a-hole. He hasn't shown anyone besides you the videos. He deleted the video talking about it. He realized he made a mistake. You took something he showed you in confidence and used it to ruin his dating chances, yet you still call yourself his friend. OP says, according to him, I'm repeating what he told me. Such videos are legal under current laws if they are intended for private viewing. He also claims after doing research, even if he was to post them publicly, an AI video solely depicting French kissing doesn't rise to the level of what is considered illegal under that new Take It Down Act. Anyway, as the women are fully clothed and aren't engaging in any spicely related intercourse activities. Of course, there is still a possibility a woman can use tort laws to sue, but again, he claims he did research and the chance of her winning is actually low. She would have to prove it damaged her reputation, but still, he doesn't want to take the chance of it happening. While not exactly something that could land him in the slammer, it could result in being dragged into civil court, and there's an update. Well, apparently Jake saw the Reddit thread, put 2 and 2 together, and confronted me about it, so I had no choice but to confess it was me. I let him know I did him a favor, and here's why. Once my matchmaker friend sets a client up with someone and they go out on a date, she considers her job done and services rendered, and doesn't give refunds, but it isn't really about the money. It really isn't about the money, Spider-Man. Let's say she sets him up with someone and the woman in question finds his creations, which are literally right there in his downloads folder. How long will it be before said woman complains that the matchmaker, possibly via all over the internet, set her up with a person that in essence is creating AI of real people using images taken from their social media? There is also a chance that the woman might not blame the matchmaker, but publicly try to name and shame him. I don't 100% approve of what he's doing, but I don't think it's worthy enough of putting him on blast on an app like T or whatever. Girl, you're putting him on blast on a Reddit post right now. What are you on about? I will admit that on some of the T's clips, the finished outfit actually looks nicer than the original one.
Excuse me?
But again, he's doing all of this without consent.
Excuse
Outfits? Why are we're gonna give him credit for making nice AI slop that I guarantee you's not nice? Many of these were women in media testing promo shots of what they wear on air. I don't think they expect to have them used for a fantasy of pulling their outfits down to show practically half their front airbags.
Oh. If I knew someone, like a guy friend who did this, I'd be like, that's disgusting.
I'd be so
I
disgusted.
never want to talk to you again.
They would be blocked. I'd
Yeah.
be telling other people, like, I'm uncomfortable to be around that person.
Yeah, I don't mean to paint a picture here, but I'm going to paint a picture of what is in my head of
I
this
don't want you to
of this
paint
person. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on your favorite podcast platform. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, just search OK Storytime. And you can listen and 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 listen some more.
I don't like anybody.
Except the matchmakers who
Boo.
rightfully were like, oh yeah, I'm not going to
Yes.
help this guy get a
Yes.
date.
Heck yeah,
This
to the
guy?
system of matchmakers that have banded together
Yeah.
to make sure he stays without matchmaking
Oh,
services.
the guy posting online with his whole chest about how he wishes he could post his non-consensual AI, like, spicy content without any repercussions or fear of being prosecuted because he's using real people. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get him a date.
No, sorry.
You can go date your AI girls. To answer some questions based on the comments, I don't think this is worthy of dropping the friendship over. No, he doesn't have any of me that you know
that
of.
you know of. He's just not showing you those ones. OP, you are starting to sound a little silly goofy.
Yeah. Thanks to the one comment mentioning it, I let him know that if he ever posts the deepfakes publicly, they could cause problems if the woman's family or friends are closet guards and think they're real. He did acknowledge that's another reason, but he also said, in reality, it's 2025. Who's going to give a crap if they're in a clip kissing another female? Honestly, I think all this stems from him watching spicy content for so long that he expects women to, quote, perform for him. And if he knows they won't, he has turned to AI. I was telling him about an article I saw that many are now going for other femmes. And he said, yeah, Instagram has a ton of those femme couples, but I can't stand how they just peck on the lips for the camera. Where's the passion? They have tongues. Use them.
Oh my god. He's like, yeah, all of those femme for femme couples aren't catering their kissing pictures to me, a man. Messed up.
I need you to never talk to this man again, or else I'm fully at this point considering you to be just as bad.
Comment 1 says, gross that you'd stay friends with this disgusting piece of trash. Comment 2, you think he's still worth being friends with? The bar really is in hell, and that is the end of that story.
Glad some people called OP out for that one.